Hey everyone, and welcome back to another explainer. Today, we're going to be exploring something totally invisible, yet so incredibly powerful that it can literally make or break our most important interactions. I want you to picture a high-stakes scenario right now. Maybe it's a really tense salary negotiation or, a difficult conversation with a partner. The stakes are super high, your heart rate is spiking, so how do we ensure we actually stay in control of that situation? Well, let's explore how mastering our vocal tone might just be your ultimate secret weapon.
To get started, imagine you're on an airplane. You're cruising along, watching a movie, and suddenly, boom, the aircraft hits severe turbulence. The cabin is shaking violently. Passengers are white-knuckling their armrests. And then, the intercom crackles to life. Now think about this for a second. If the pilot comes over that speaker shouting, or even just sounding a little panicked, fear is going to spread through that cabin instantly. But if they speak slowly, clearly, and with this unwavering confidence, the panic magically starts to subside, doesn't it?
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. The airplane turbulence test and why calm is contagious.
Think about it. When that pilot speaks calmly, the actual literal turbulence hasn't changed one bit. The airplane is still bouncing all around in the sky. So why do we suddenly feel so much safer? It's because the pilot's tone has completely rewritten the emotional reality of the room. Because calm is contagious. As social creatures, we are constantly subconsciously scanning our environment for emotional cues, and we take those cues from whoever appears most in control. If someone projects panic, we catch it like a cold. But grounded calmness, that is just as infectious.
Which brings us to Section 2, when pressure rises, logic falls, also known as the aggression trap.
So, out in our everyday lives, well before anyone judges the actual content of our words, they judge our tone. It's basically the packaging your message arrives in. A single sentence can sound profoundly caring or deeply threatening, all depending on that packaging. Like, "What are you doing?" Said softly is compassionate, right? But said sharply, it's a total accusation. Most of us don't even think about our tone. Yet when the pressure rises, our untrained instinct is usually to speak faster and louder because we mistakenly believe that verbal force equals agreement.
But the exact opposite happens. A rising, forceful voice immediately creates defensiveness and fear. The literal second your tone turns aggressive, the listener goes straight into survival mode. Conversely, a calm voice creates safety and it fosters genuine listening. It actively disarms all those defense mechanisms.
When that defensiveness is triggered, a few very specific things happen in the listener's brain. First, they completely stop absorbing your ideas. Instead, they begin protecting themselves, usually by formulating a counterattack in their head rather than actually hearing your perspective. Emotion entirely takes over and logic just takes a back seat. You have to remember, every single difficult conversation is hijacked by emotion well before reason even enters the chat.
And this brilliantly illustrates our third section, the late-night radio voice and projecting confidence.
So if we want to guide an interaction, we have to guide the emotional atmosphere first. One absolutely fascinating method for this, popularized by the former FBI negotiator Chris Voss, is called the late-night radio host voice. Basically, it's a conversational tactic using a slower pace, a steady rhythm, and a relaxed tone to reduce tension. Notice how my voice just shifted right there? I'm speaking just a little bit slower. My rhythm is steady. It physically signals to the listener's brain that everything is completely under control.
Now, I want to be super clear here. This isn't about sounding weak or passive. Actually, it's the exact opposite. Lowering your volume and pacing your words projects this immense, unshakable confidence. It shows a real projection of power without creating any conflict. It's a really fascinating paradox that the strongest, most effective negotiators in the world rarely ever need to raise their voices.
That calm strength works because of a simple psychological shift. Feeling threatened? That leads to a total refusal to cooperate. Your nervous system literally shuts down collaboration when it feels like it's under attack. But feeling understood? Now, that builds a real willingness to cooperate. That late-night radio voice signals safety and respect, which honestly is the only environment where human beings will actually open up to compromise.
All right, let's put this into practice. Section 4, mastering your next conversation. The challenge.
Understanding the theory is one thing, right? But how do we actually apply it to our very next tense interaction? Well, there are 3 practical steps. First, deliberately slow down your speaking pace. Just take it down a notch. Second, pause before responding instead of rushing to fill the silence. Let it breathe. And third, end your sentences with confidence by bringing your vocal inflection downward at the end of your thoughts. Trying this exact procedure can literally help the emotional energy in a room completely settle down.
So the crucial point is this. The calmest person in the room often has the greatest influence. It's almost never the loudest person or the one talking a mile a minute. Mastering your vocal tone is the absolute foundational step to mastering the entire conversation.
Which leaves us with one final, really essential question to consider. In your very next difficult conversation, are you going to be the turbulence or will you be the pilot? The next time the pressure rises, remember, you have the power to set the tone. Thanks so much for joining me.